Here we are. It is a cold February day, Manhattan, Kansas. There's snow on the ground, there's ice on the ground. What a perfect time to talk some sports. We're back. I'm Cole. Another edition, Cole's Corner. I got a pretty busy show ahead today. Gonna cover a variety of topics. Start with the Super Bowl. I'll give you my thoughts on the not-so Super Bowl game, I guess you could say. How that pertains to the Chiefs, we'll get into another time. We got a very special guest coming up very soon. That next episode will be dedicated to the NFL. That one is coming up soon. It'll be a very comprehensive look, so I'm excited about that. But after we talk about that, I'm going to go ahead and recap for you guys the Sunflower Showdown, the mega game that happened on Tuesday between KU and K-State. I'll give you my thoughts about that, as well as kind of preview the rest of the Big 12. Should be a great race coming down. KU looking for 14. You got 14 straight, looking to keep that streak alive. I'll give you my thoughts about the game, and I'll give you my thoughts about what holds in the future for both of those teams, as well as the rest of the Big 12. And then to close things out, I'll give you guys a little preview of some baseball. The Royals report to spring training in less than a week, so I'll give you some of my thoughts and kind of what to look for in that. There are some interesting statistics that came out today for the Royals, and I think you guys will enjoy it. So without further ado, let's get this thing going.
In the red zone, the first one for the game on either side. From the 2, first and goal. Running for the touchdown. Sony Michel.
So that was the only touchdown of the Super Bowl. A 2-yard run from Sony Michel. That made the score 10-3. Patriots would go on to win 13-3. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that was a game that's going to be remembered in the decades. People are going to think about that game as one of the best Super Bowls, because it's just not. And I know a lot of people have been criticizing the fact that there were 16 points scored. And yeah, in today's NFL, that's not good. But the old adage of defense wins championships held true. And I've thought a lot about Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, the Patriots. What does this mean in terms of historical context? I wasn't alive for Michael Jordan. I wasn't alive for Joe Montana. I wasn't alive for the Cowboys with Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith. But I will tell you this, in my lifetime, this is the single greatest dynasty of all time. And I think it goes on to more than just the last 20 years. I think you have to go back, and the only teams that might be able to match this would be the UCLA teams of the John Wooden age. And even then, I still think what the Patriots are doing is more impressive. You have a 41-year-old quarterback. He's 41 years old, and he's winning Super Bowls. He's going into Arrowhead Stadium, and he's beating the MVP. So, yeah, Tom Brady is the best quarterback of all time. Let's just end that discussion right there. But he is not the greatest right now. The only reason that the Patriots are in this position is because Bill Belichick is a genius. And anyone who tries to defute that statement is ignorant, and they are wrong. He is the greatest coach of all time in any sport. You cannot convince me otherwise. He has taken a team full of not really Super Bowl talent people. I mean, who on that defense would you say, yeah, they're top 5 at their position? I would say Stephon Gilmore might be the only one, and he's a cornerback. And he has taken that defense to another level. He single-handedly shut down the Rams. He led them to 3 points, the NFL's second highest scoring offense. The Rams scored 3 points. Todd Gurley, Jared Goff, Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, 3 points. Sean McVay got completely outcoached. He's standing there on the sideline like a train just ran him over. He had no idea what had happened. I just think it goes to show that it's not so much about players in the NFL. because everybody is so talented. You have to be schematically sound. And Patriots were. They shut them down. They shut them down. They could not do anything. And you have to appreciate defense to like that game. I'm an offensive guy. I played offense my whole entire life. So yeah, do I want to see points scored? Yeah. As a Chiefs fan, I'm used to that. I think when you have Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce running around out there, you're accustomed to seeing 35 points put up. Now, I do think if the Chiefs would have been in the Super Bowl, they would have had a great chance of winning. Because I don't think the Chiefs are only scoring. I think the Chiefs are scoring more than the Patriots scored in that game. Now, their defense would maybe definitely not only give up 3 points, but I still think that they would have had a great chance to win. That's beside the point. The main thing that people should take away from the Super Bowl is that what they have witnessed these last however long Tom Brady has been in the NFL, 18, 20 years, has been the single greatest dynasty ever. And it's about time we give him props. Who knows when it's going to end? He said he wants to play till he's 45. I'm not so sure. Rob Gronkowski might retire. Gronk is going to do Gronk. Gronk is going to do whatever he wants, so it doesn't matter. And how can you blame the guy? He's done everything. He's an All-Pro. He's a Pro Bowler. He's been the best player at his position. I don't think he's the best tight end in the NFL right now. I think Travis Kelce has that, or even Zach Ertz or Eric Ebron. Some of those guys are competing. But this is a question. If you're Tom Brady, what else do you have to play for? Realistically, do you win another Super Bowl? I'm not doubting him because I think he can come back and he can win every Super Bowl for the rest of his life with how well Bill Belichick has been coaching, with how well he's been playing. Excuse me. But what else does he have to play for? That's a serious question. Does he want to risk being the Michael Jordan of the Washington Wizards and playing until he's 45 when he's completely washed up? He said, "I'll play till I suck." That is a direct quote from Tom Brady. I really hope that's not the case because I don't want to have to see him. It's always harder to see legends when you know that they're done. I don't know. I think it means a lot for the Chiefs. That is a topic for another show that I will get into. But this game was not so good. I agree with the people saying that. But it meant a lot for the NFL. Just based solely on the fact that you're just witnessing history. If the Rams would have won, I'm not sure what the reaction would have been. I think people would have been happy that the Patriots lost, no doubt. But I think the Patriots winning just adds a level of intrigue to the NFL that says, yeah, like this guy is really good, and it just proves to everybody that Belichick and Brady are the class of the NFL. No doubt.
Only guy out there. Jonathan Steele.
Okay, I have been to a lot of games. I have been to a World Series game. I have been to many Chiefs games. I have been to some big-time basketball games. But I will say this. The Kansas versus Kansas State men's basketball game on Super Tuesday on ESPN for first place in the conference, in the middle of the conference. That was the single loudest sporting event I have attended. Now, decibel-wise, I'm sure Chiefs games are louder. But when Cartier-Jada stole a pass, did a windmill dunk, and sealed the game, that was the loudest I have ever heard at a sporting event. And people can talk about the Kansas-K-State rivalry. There is a lot of KU fans who don't really think K-State's a rival. And to those people, I will say, if you get upset when you lose to a team who hates you, and you get upset, that's a rival. If there is competition, if you want to win, that is a rivalry. KU and Iowa State, that's a rivalry. KU and K-State, that's a rivalry. If KU loses to Kentucky, they're just mad they lost the game. They're not mad they lost to Kentucky. If KU loses to K-State, they're mad that they lost to K-State. If K-State loses to KU, they're mad they lost to KU. So, it's a rivalry. And for anybody who disputes that, just let me know. We can have some discussion. But this is what I'll say about that game. That game showed me that KU was not as talented as K-State. Now, coaching-wise, they have the better coach. Bill Self's one of the best college basketball coaches of all time. But they just don't have the talent. Starting 1 through 5, K-State has a better starting 5 than KU. They did on Tuesday night. Now, in Lawrence, when they play in Lawrence, the game might not even be close. KU might run away with it, and KU could very well come back, and Marcus Garrett could get healthy, and KU could reel off 5 wins in a row and come back in first place, and they could win the conference again. And that's a very realistic possibility, so don't think that's what I'm saying. But I think Kansas State right now has the most talented team in the Big 12. Now, they also have Bruce Weber. So they could very easily finish 5th in the conference and fail to win 20 games. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Barry Brown, Dean Wade are going to lead this team. But K-State can win the Big 12. And I have not felt more sure about that than after they beat KU. There's always the question of, are you going to come out, what K-State team are you going to see? That's always been a question among K-State fans. Well, if we play like this, we can be... No. You have to expect, as a K-State fan, you have to expect that they will come out and compete in every single game and win. Every home game the rest of the way. They have Iowa State, they still have to play at home. But they should win every single game the rest of the way. Not saying they will. I don't think they will. Because the Big 12 is the best conference in college basketball. They could go down and they could lose to Texas. They play Texas on Tuesday. They could lose to Baylor on Saturday. Baylor is a good team. But this conference is K-State's right now. This conference is K-State's when they're in control of their own destiny. If they beat Baylor, I think they'll have a great shot to win. Now, KU. The KU outlook, I'm not worried about KU. I'm really not. Because KU always has this mid-February funk where they play like this, and then they'll hit their stride, they'll come back, they'll be fine. Is this a Final Four team? I don't know. I don't think so. I think they can make it to the Sweet 16. I think they can make it to the Elite 8. You really don't know. Dedrick Lawson that kid is a stud. He reminds me of Perry Ellis. He's not as good, but he reminds me of Perry Ellis. I think the key for the KU team is LeGerald Vick. He played awful. Plain and simply, he played awful. And in order for KU to win, he's got to play good. He didn't, so they lost. And that's pretty much the basis of it. As for who I think is going to win the Big 12, I'm not ready to go there yet, but I think it's going to come down to the wire, and I could definitely see KU and K-State playing for a third time at the Sprint Center in the Big 12 championship game in the Big 12 tournament. That's what I think.
That'll do it. And how far will it go? It is gone. A grand slam. A walk-off grand slam.
I play that clip because in less than 1 week, the Royals will be back. They will be in Surprise, Arizona. Salvador Perez and the rest of the catchers, along with the pitching staff, will be reporting for spring training. Hard to believe, considering it's 5 degrees outside, but it will happen. Today, PECOTA, the annual projections came out, the computers came out, PECOTA Computer projections. They predicted the Royals to go 71-91, third place in the AL Central. The Tigers were picked to go 67-95, and the White Sox were picked to finish 70-92. The Indians were picked to win the division. So my question is, what do you think? What do you guys think? I think 71 wins is about right. On the low end, quite honestly, I really feel like this team, I could sit here and I'm going to do a show previewing the Royals season eventually, so I'm not going to get too in-depth. But I really think that this team can, if they go 71-91 and say they're around 500 in the beginning part of the season, if they're in it, just keep me entertained until the Chiefs. Keep me entertained until the training camp, right? I mean, that's really all we want around here. I have to see development from Ryan O'Hearn, Hunter Dozier, and I think Adalberto Mondesi is going to turn into a star. The only thing that's going to keep this team back is pitching. And it's honestly pretty scary because if they had a decent pitching staff, it's like the Chiefs on the defense. It's really what it is. If they had a decent pitching staff, I think this team could make the playoffs. I really do. They played over 500 ball in September. They got a good core. And the thing is, this is what people have to understand. This core that they have right now with O'Hearn and Dozier and Merrifield, this is not the core that is going to win them the next championship. Those guys are still 3-4 years away. But when you combine the two, that's when things start to get interesting. Because really, their last core underperformed until 2014. You can make an argument 2013. But until 2014, they had underperformed. These guys that are up in the big leagues right now were blocked by those guys. So their development is ahead of them. Which is nice, because that you won't have to rush this next wave of guys just to play competitive baseball. I personally think it's going to be hard for Ryan O'Hearn to have the same amount of success he did when he came up. Hunter Dozier has to get better. He looked lost at the plate at times, but he started to figure it out. I'll be really curious because that's a guy right there who was a first-round draft pick, who you invested a lot in. They released Chester Cuthbert. They said, Hunter Dozier, you are the man. Unless they sign Mike Moustakas and flip him in July, which is a possibility. We'll see how Dayton Moore does that. But then you got your shortstop, who's going to be the next great shortstop in baseball, in Mondesi. He's going to be right up there with Francisco Lindor. And him and Merrifield will be dang fun to watch up the middle. I mean, those guys right there, they give you a reason to go to the ballpark every day just to go watch those guys play. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great time to watch them. And then in the outfield, this could be the last season for Alex Gordon. It's in the last year of his deal. He's getting up there in age. You know, he's one of those guys where me personally, I don't want to see him leave. I want to see him be a Royal for life. And I hope he has a successful season and we keep him. If they trade him, they trade him. But I want to see him retire in a Royals uniform. That would be great. He's a typical Kansas City Royal. And then the newly acquired Billy Hamilton will start in center field. Amazing speed, can't hit. So that's one of those reclamation projects. We'll see how Dayton handles him. We'll see how Ned handles him. I would imagine he'd bat ninth and he'd play every day in center field. And you got this scary, scary speed combination of Hamilton at 9, Merrifield at 1, Mondesi at 2, if they want to go that way. That would be scary, no doubt. And then in right field is competition. You got Bonifacio, who had a down year last year when he came back from suspension. You got Brett Phillips, who they got in the Moustakas trade. He's got a great arm, it's great speed, just can't hit yet, strikes out a lot. You got Brian Goodwin, who they acquired in July from the Nationals, who showed some potential before he got hurt. Then he came back, he did all right. And then you got Chris Owens, who they recently had signed, who can play right field, but they look at him more as a utility guy. We'll see. And then they brought back Terrence Gore. They signed him to a major league contract. So how the outfield, we'll just have to see how it shapes up. You know, like I said, there's going to be a lot more stuff that plays out. But pitchers and catchers report in a week, so baseball's right around the corner. Couldn't be more excited. Could not be more excited. And that's all I have for today. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Like I said, I got some Chiefs coverage coming up with a special guest. I have a Royals preview show right around the corner. And I might even do some more Big 12 basketball. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys have a great rest of the day.